Hello and welcome to another edition of the Formula One Fans UK podcast. I'm Reese. I'm joined today by
Dan.
Danny.
We are here to review the Spanish Grand Prix, get through the major talking points, and we'll start with the big one, which was the sighting of Shakira in the paddock. Now, this really picked up Mr. Sandoval's excitement here, didn't it, Danny? So I'll let you start with this one.
It's always a pleasant surprise to see Shakira there. She is a Barcelona legend. So yeah, it's very interesting to see her there. I'm surprised that we didn't see PK come around the corner at the track and start a custody battle there in the middle of the track, but so far no problems.
Yeah, I was half expecting a Gerard Piqué to make a storming Schumacher-style entrance into the Mercedes garage.
It was definitely nice to have something to look at. It reminds me of the days of when Nicole Scherzinger used to visit the track. It was very nice to look at.
Yeah, it was definitely one of those ones where you're like, oh, Shakira's there. That's going to drive.
Didn't mean to cut you off. Sorry, cutting you off. Who was she there to see?
I don't know. Maybe it was Lewis Hamilton, because we all know what happened with Miami. But yeah, I mean, it was something to set F1 Twitter wild after a race that, sort of with Barcelona, what you always get is what you expect. It was all very Noah's Ark, because that's what the track lends itself to. There was a shake-up in qualifying. Qualifying was completely unpredictable.
Yeah, 100%. It was nice to have a little shake-up within the qualifying, leading to slightly different order on the grid with like Lando up there and stuff like that. Obviously, that didn't work out too well for Lando, but yeah, it was nice to have something different going on throughout the field.
Yeah, because like I say, we had a very sort of shaken up grid order, and whilst things did sort of settle themselves out in the end, so you had the McLarens running out the points, you had the Alfa Romeos running out the points, you had the Hasses falling back towards the back to be alongside each other, Williams being nowhere. It was sort of what you expected, but I think this is where I call it, guys. Max Verstappen is definitely the driver's champion this year. There is no hope for Perez. And I'm so confident about that I've booked a holiday over the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix weekend.
That's a bold move this far out in the season. Honestly, we don't think we're giving up on Perez already.
That qualifying performance was inexcusable by all accounts. I don't understand how you can be in that car and be struggling so much to put it through.
Yeah, it's 2 weekends in a row, right? With Checo, supposedly king of the streets, couldn't get it done last week in Monaco, and now this week he struggled again. And no struggles from the other side of the garage, of course. Max is just running his championship season on course. He's got the perfect setup, perfect team, perfect designer, perfect strategist, perfect pit crew, 2.2 seconds. Compared to, I think, Hamilton, 1.3 seconds. I think Russell had like a 2.8. There's this time being.
Sainz.
What's that?
Sainz was 2.9.
Yeah. See, like, those are probably like the best that those teams could do. David Coulthard, he was on F1 TV commentating on there, and he said it doesn't, there's no reason why these small teams, Haas, Alpha, there's no reason they can practice their pit stops and their times and get it down to 2.2 seconds consistently like Red Bull do. And that's true. We saw like 5 years ago, Williams had the best pit crew for a while. They were consistently in the 2-second range as well. And now we've seen Red Bull take over for the past couple of years. So, just the little things that Red Bull do and the big things that they do. And Max is just running away with it again.
I think it also comes from you have these great pit stops, but it's when everything goes perfectly. Verstappen now, this last race, he had no pressure on him whatsoever. So, he could hit these marks properly in the pit box, not be trying to eke out that last, perfect point of braking. Like, probably the Mercedes drivers were, Sainz was, Perez was. They're all probably trying to, even hit their pit crew at the last possible second. I just think it's one of those things. He's got no pressure on him at the moment, so why not? Why not have everything perfect?
He just needs to make his corners perfect, because man was very close to the black and white flags. Which, in all fairness, when you're 30, 25 seconds, whatever, ahead, is there really a need to be pushing that much?
Well, I think it's the way that Max Verstappen is wired. He just doesn't have like a 90% or a 80%. He is, oh wow, yeah, Dan, I can see why you're going, oof, there, that's a proper one in IndyCar. That is, he's mounted that like Lewis Hamilton mounts Shakira.
She was there to see him again.
Yep.
She was definitely there to see him.
Yeah.
we really need to stop watching NASCAR and IndyCar while we're producing F1 podcasts.
I'll get back to it quickly, bro. Pretty much what I was saying was, yeah, Max Verstappen is wired in that way that he's 100% all the time. He doesn't come and take he doesn't back off, does he? And I'm starting to wonder who actually owns the team, because his team radio today, not only with in the race, but even in practice, a phone was ringing, and I'm not sure if you heard this, but he heard a phone ringing and realised it was Helmut's. He was like, "Is that Helmut's phone ringing? Someone's phone's ringing. I can hear someone's phone ringing." I was like, "It's like the boss telling off like his young employee who's forgot to turn his phone on to silent at work." It was hilarious. But then he's talking back to his engineer, who says, "Okay, Max, you've done your fastest lap. Now can you just bring it back home within the white lines?" And he goes, "Yeah." I'm like, okay. I think Verstappen really does own that team, and this season it does feel like it's Max Verstappen's world, and we're all living in it.
Oh, 100%. But coming back to the pit stops, was it Haas that had both of the rear jack mistakes, or was it just one of them? Was it two?
Haas definitely had one rear jack failure. It was weird because it's like two guys went in at the same time with the rear jacks. It was like at the last second they go, "Oh no, that's broken. Quickly, you go in instead." But it made no sense.
It isn't something we've seen very often over the last good couple of years. We haven't really seen anything like that happen. We always see them standing there, and I've always thought to myself, what a quality job. You get to go all around the world, and you only have to do your job if someone else messes up theirs. Like Kushti, right? Gotta be like.
Nah, I think the best job in the F1 pit crew is the guy who has to lean over and just steady the car from the side. That's got to be the piss easiest job in the world.
And they employ two of them.
Yes. Are you over 5'11" so you can reach the middle of the car? Yes. Okay. You've got a job in the middle of the pit crew.
That's why Yuki Tsunoda had to be an F1 driver and not a pit stop crew.
I mean, have you seen which NBA player was it that he was pictured with?
He was like 7'4" or something, wasn't he? Like just towered over him. It was ridiculous.
Yeah, it was Kristaps Porzingis. He was a Serbian, I think he is.
But it's hilarious. I mean, because got my girlfriend started watching Formula One now. So she's been watching the races with me, and she couldn't believe how small Yuki Tsunoda was.
My wife always says, "Oh, how he's so cute."
He's fiery though, isn't he? He's apologized again for losing it over team radio.
Yeah, well, I don't know. Going back to Monaco, I believe that was unnecessary. The radio call, and he lost 2 spots. Immediately lost his concentration, and you saw he lost 2 spots. And then this week as well. But I don't know if we want to get into that. His penalties today was just beyond ridiculous. Beyond ridiculous. That was racing at its core. Yuki defended the track. I don't think there's any F1 driver, past, present, or future, that would reject that call or would have something to say about that move that he did on Zhou. But here we are.
Well, I think
It's bringing
also,
up it's bringing up stewarding decisions in the forefront again.
well, yeah, it feels like we're almost at a bit at a VAR sort of moment with Formula One, because it was the stewarding that was the issue here. It wasn't the actions of Zhou Guanyu at all. I mean, he went off wide, and any other driver, even Yuki Tsunoda, if he had that done to himself, would have been complaining, saying he's pushed me off, because that's the way these guys work. They will take every advantage they can get, and yeah, Zhou was not forced off, but he would be right to think he was. I thought Yuki defended it perfectly, and it was a shame because that was a really good fun battle to watch.
Yeah. I don't know. I just felt there were several drivers you could watch in this race. You can have the camera pointed at Yuki. You can have it at Hulkenberg. You can have it at Gasly, Ocon. These drivers, every lap, were either passing somebody or were getting past themselves, and it was just a constant battling throughout the race. I think that was a saving grace of this race today. That factor of having a lot of battles throughout the grid. We saw great movement from Russell, which he didn't win the driver of the day, employee of the day for Mercedes. But damn, went from 12th to third. Great drive from him. Great drive from Mercedes driver. Perez, another driver who overtook a whole bunch of people, ended up in fourth as well. So just really great race to see.
To be fair though, I enjoyed the Piastri and Gasly fight for quite a while. That was a good set of decent racing. Good. It was good, clean racing as well. It wasn't no dirty, no dirtiness involved in that. But also coming back to like Yuki and that, every single driver that feels like they get pushed off, they instantly run to the principal and they're like, can we get that looked into? Oh, he's done this, he's done that. It's like they do it all the time. They are looking for for that opportunity for it to be reviewed and for that that steward to favor them when they really shouldn't be, because it's you either want good driving so that they're going to drive like this, or nobody's going to bother. If they keep getting penalties, what's the point?
Yeah, I agree. There was a lot of good aggressive driving, and I mean, going back on the point what Danny was saying, you're right. There were drivers that just seemed to have the action follow them anywhere. I think it's a weird one that some cars have much better qualifying pace than race pace. Ferrari, Haas, and McLaren all seem to be those teams that have excellent qualifying pace in comparison to their race pace. But it does provide some action because we are seeing those cars get overtaken as they drop through the field. And I thought Hulkenberg today was brilliant to watch because he was really getting his elbows out of everyone, even Perez, which was hilarious because it was the most pointless battle of the lot. But he just tried it with everyone. And I really like to see that because there's too much of this, oh, his car's faster than mine, so I'm just going to let him through because it's not the person I'm racing. No, fight for every spot, entertain us. It's a sport.
So what are your thoughts on Fernando Alonso giving up so early?
It was one of those weekends for him, wasn't it? It just didn't go right. He picked up the damage in qualifying. Credit to Lance Stroll, though, for heeding the call of, I think, every single Formula One podcast out there, ourselves and every other one I listened to. Everyone sort of was raising the questions of Lance Stroll, and he did respond this weekend. I thought he had a solid weekend. That was where the Aston Martin needed to be, or was going to be. He delivered it because in the past, the last few races, he's not delivered what the Aston Martin's potential's been. But well done, Lance Stroll, for getting the maximum out of the car today.
Yeah, 100%. And props to Alonso as well with his cheeky little comment of just tell Lance I'm not gonna push the situation with him, and bringing those cars home. Obviously back to back, grid positions, etc. Getting the maximum points that they could instead of getting into a potential battle that didn't need to be fought within their team. You know, they brought both cars home safe and with points. But obviously, from Alonso's point of view, he could have done with that extra point in the Drivers' Championship. But, you know, he played the team game and he sat behind Lance and, you know, they come home together.
Yeah, and it was quite. I'm not going to lie. When I heard Alonso say he was not going to attack, I did have Baku moments. I was thinking, he's not going to attack. He's going to say he's not going to attack, and he's going to give him some advice on bike balance. Lance Charles is going to go off, and he's going to be like, "Ha ha, silly boy," like he, like he usually does, and shoot past. But no, there was no gains from Alonso today. I would have thought that he might have wanted to put a bit more fight up, being his home race, but him and Sainz neither look to have like the fight about them today.
On Alonso as well, the fight that he was in with Ocon as well, the way that he was defended there, you know, there's still definitely no love lost between Ocon and Alonso.
Yeah, if there was going to be a penalty today, I thought it was going to go Ocon's way on driving standards.
100%.
Yeah, I mean, Ocon seems to be in quite good form at the moment, so I'm not surprised he was fighting hard. But with Alonso behind him, I think he was inclined to fight too hard. But it could have been a big one. And could you imagine if you were the driver who caused Alonso to crash? You would not be leaving Barcelona without a very, very, very large security escort. It happened again. Everyone finished the race. I personally
One time
feel
I
that
don't bet on it, everyone finishes the race. It's like a sick joke for Dan and his Sky bet balance.
It's like me when I bet on Verstappen, he doesn't actually win the race. It's what I've learned. What we've learned is that I need to bet on Verstappen. You need to bet on everyone finishing the race, and that way we'll start getting some good races with lots of drama.
I might have to start betting on Man City to win then, and then they might start losing because it hasn't been a good weekend.
Yeah, I mean the way I see it is if Verstappen's going to win the title this year, I might as well get some money out of it.
You're gonna be seeing a lot of Man City next week as well.
Yes, I'd like to say that we are all Italian now. I mean, Dan is sweating like it's Sardinia.
Who are they playing?
Internazionale.
Internazionale.
Yes. Anyone but C.
Yeah, it was a.
And I only say that as a bitter United fan.
I say it's a bit of Liverpool fan. The truth is, and the sad fact is, I was like, I'd rather Man United won the cup on Saturday than Man City. Didn't get my wish.
But every time we win it, everyone acts like it's a Mickey Mouse Cup and no one wants to win it anyway.
Well, that's part of the joke.
But then as soon as Man City win it, it's like, yeah, congratulations, well done, Man City. Yeah, fuck you, Man City.
Doesn't Man U have the most FA Cup wins?
Arsenal. But yeah, back to the Formula One podcast. Oh dear. I mean, Danny, if you're going to make an F1 bet to try and spice things up, knowing that when you bet it on it, it's not going to come in, what are you going to bet on?
A sure bet or a far out bet?
It's a sure bet, but as soon as you bet on it, it doesn't come in.
Well, look, I did have a sure bet, and I was going to bet that Hamilton re-signs with a Mercedes after seeing the results of today's race. After seeing the performance of the car and Russell's potential performance, Hamilton re-signs immediately. Maybe tonight, maybe tomorrow morning.
Yeah, I think the concerns of the overdriving comments from Monaco have been left in the past because that Mercedes looks like the second best car. It qualified okay. You expect it to be behind the Ferraris because the Ferrari is a great car in qualifying spec if it's being driven by Sainz and not Leclerc. And that's one for me. I just don't understand why Leclerc struggled so much yesterday.
That's a driver that feel like he's lost his head for a second. Yeah, unexplainable. A driver with Leclerc's talent. At this point last year, he had just lost the lead in the championship race in the battle, and just to see him struggling, is what, sixth place or sixth or seventh in the standings, the driver standings.
Yeah, it's just one of these ones that it's a terrible season for Ferrari, and I know we were talking before about how Sainz is wanted for the Audi project. If he doesn't want to do Ferrari as Leclerc's number 2, well, if Leclerc doesn't pick it up, I can't see why Sainz can't be the number 1 driver at Ferrari. And Leclerc is who was the darling poster boy of Ferrari, has to start, scratching around for where he's going to get a number 1 drive.
But I think it's just, he's eventually feeling that Ferrari pressure, because they do expect a lot. They expect results from every single person in their team, driver, team principal, everybody. And I think he's just starting to feel that pressure, and hopefully, with his driver coach, team coach, all this sort of stuff, he can get through it, and he comes back and he starts putting his weight within the team. But I don't know. I think mentally, until he gets himself sorted, we're just going to keep facing these stupid mistakes and not becoming much help to Sainz.
Yeah, you're right. And I think the thing is to say, Sainz said he had more pace in the car and he could push more and take more out of these tyres. Why didn't he? Where was that performance that he said he had in reserve? Because it just didn't feel like it was anywhere. He was passed easily by Hamilton, easily by Russell, easily by Perez. It felt very, very underwhelming from being a Sainz fan. I was like, oh, there's so much potential here, especially when he got elbows there with Verstappen at turn 1. I thought, oh, brilliant, he might really be up for it today. He might be able to hang on. But no, it was just never an option, and he fell far away.
Didn't Max start on a harder compound compared to Sainz, or were they both on the same? Because I think, I'm pretty sure Max was on a harder compound. So yeah, I expected him to take him off the line, in all fairness, but obviously not. I want to put my prediction, as we were talking about the bets quickly, about that if we bet on it, it's basically not going to happen. I want to bet on no rain for the British Grand Prix.
I wonder what's the odds you can get on that. British weather. I mean, I'd like to see it. I think we were promised rain today, weren't we? We were told 40%. Well, we weren't promised. We were told 40% chance. And I was watching the weather forecast, and it said it was raining, and it was actually just one of those typical ones where it rained everywhere but the racetrack.
No. It did rain within Russell's helmet with his sweat. That comment creased me up. I was like, where's the rain? I started getting a bit like, oh yeah, let's bring the rain on. No, it just turns out it's sweat within Russell's helmet at 200 miles an hour.
He got Christian Horner though, didn't he? You see Christian Horner reaching behind him on the pit wall, feeling for rain.
It's like they were coming up with some kind of way to get some funny driver comments over the radios and that. It was hilarious.
Yeah,
save that one for the end of season compilation.
But the funny thing is, he said it was rain in turn 5. If you guys see the map of Barcelona, turn 5, kind of like in the infield. But he said turn 1 or turn 5.
I'm pretty positive that when he come on and said about rain, it was turn 1. Hence why
turn 5.
Oh, he said turn 5. Yeah, because turn 5 is in the middle of the track, essentially.
Yeah, which would have been why it triggered some reaching behind on the pit wall.
Yeah. Like, it would have made sense if it said, turn 3, which is top left if you're looking at it from the straight running, right to left.
Speaking about Russell, obviously with Mercedes, that Mercedes today, it may be a complete, fluke, but the car's looking better. It's looking better, it's looking faster, and it's looking more stable. So hopefully we get some progression within that, and some better races from Mercedes, hopefully.
Yeah, I agree, and I'm hopeful. I don't know. The one thing I never see or hear is Red Bull upgrades. So I wonder if they really did go all out at the start of the season, use all their allowances for this year on this year's car and are going to pour all of their other CFD and all their wind tunnel time for the rest of the season. I wonder if they are going to pour that into next year's car, because this penalty that they've had, it's not. If they manage to win out the entire year, which wouldn't surprise me, it's really not worked. But I guess that's one. I wonder what odds you can get on that. A bet for Red Bull winning every race this year. I wonder what odds they'd offer you on that now.
Whatever the odds were, I'd probably still end up losing all my money. But I guarantee it'd be a lot better than it was before. See, guys, this is why we need a video podcast on YouTube, etc. Because it clearly looks like Reese is researching the odds.
I am researching the odds.
So that we can have a statistic to put in here instead of me just saying I want to win more money.
I'm just trying to find it.
Some other Mercedes news. Hamilton did praise Mick Schumacher for his testing capabilities in the factory.
I've just found the odds, and this is outdated odds as well. This is back on the 21st of March. The odds then were 4-1, so they're going to be even shorter now. I reckon we might not be far off getting evens on this. I can't believe it. But here's one for you. We were talking about Ferrari and how it's been a while since they've, won a championship. To put some perspective in there for how long it's been since Ferrari last won the Drivers' Championship, Tottenham Hotspur have won a trophy more recently. And I'm not talking about the Audi Cup. I'm talking about a proper trophy.
It's 2007?
2008 was Tottenham's last trophy. And, Ferrari's last championship, 2007.
Driver, 2008 for constructor.
There have been people who weren't even born, who have been born, and can now get their provisional driver's license in the UK. There are people who were in I'm pretty sure Germany has a drinking age of 16, which means there are kids who weren't born who can now legally drink in Germany. The last time Ferrari won a world
They're probably going to
championship.
want to drink if they support Ferrari. So it's kind of a good mix, They kind of go hand in hand if you're German and you support Ferrari.
Poor Ferrari. Or Ferrari fans. Ferrari, don't. There's one for you. Okay, Dan, what's going to happen next? Tottenham win a trophy, a proper trophy, like a domestic or a European, or Ferrari win a Drivers' Championship. What's going to come first?
Tottenham winning a trophy, realistically, because I really can't see, unless there is massive progression before the 2026 rules, I can't see them. I can't see them getting up there with enough points, to even finish within the top three. But it's saddening really to see what such a force they were to what they are now. It's like watching. It's not as bad, but it's the same as that severe drop off within one season of Mercedes literally winning everything for a good 9 years or so, and then bam, they're shit.
I'd say Ferrari really are Tottenham when you think about it, because they were right on the cusp of, they challenged Verstappen properly for a good while last season, and they could have really been champions. Everyone was like, oh, maybe they can. And that was Tottenham when they made the Champions League final. Then in the middle of the season, they lost it and everything fell to shit. They couldn't manage themselves anymore. And they're in the mess they are currently, where they look wholly uncompetitive compared to even Mercedes, who started they've been leapfrogged by Mercedes.
But this is the thing. Like, was
Grosjean
comfortable?
What did he do?
Grosjean. He locked up and went deep.
When? Turn one? Are you?
No, the final corner before the pit lane.
Oh, okay. I'm ahead of you. Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
Sorry, Dan. Interrupting you there, but yeah. Grosjean.
Oh, wait, and that's interrupt again. I'm sorry. But Julian Palmer today was roasting it a little bit during the race. Was saying his incident that he had in 2018 in Spain outside of turn 3 where he smoked his tires and caused a pile up with Hulkenberg. Well, he was just saying, just commenting on his racecraft and saying how he's not spatially aware compared to a driver like Alonso, who was in the back of the grid for a long time and learned how to battle back there, and drivers like Grosjean didn't.
It's quite strange considering Jolyon Palmer also spent a lot of time at the back of the grid and didn't really learn how to, drive well enough to keep his seat.
Other comment? Wait, go ahead, Dan. I'm sorry. I don't mean to, we cut you off earlier, and now we keep on going.
No, I was just going to say about Jolyon Palmer. In all fairness, Jolyon Palmer makes a better F1 commentator than he did ever an F1 driver. So I'm,
Bar's pretty low.
Yeah. So I'm happy, that he's made it to the F1 TV and that, because his racecraft was shit, but his knowledge and his understanding of the sport and the race car is second to none.
Yeah, he has good experience of that. He did beat Valtteri in Singapore, finished ahead of a Mercedes once in his career.
That was the wet race, wasn't it, though?
Yeah, 17, right?
Yeah. That race was bonkers anyway, wasn't it? I mean, Hamilton started sixth, won the race because the front three wiped each other out.
And Alonso,
yeah.
That's what we need. We need some of that shit. Like, let's just wipe out the top three and see what happens. Chuck in some rain showers and such, and just, fuck it. Let's have some snow, bro, as well. Let's put everything in there and just see what happens.
Well, we nearly got that during COVID, didn't we? Up in Germany. But no, I mean, the way I see it is, I would have settled today if I would have settled for Sainz lunging on Verstappen, having an accident, and even though my favourite driver would be out of the race, I'd be able to
driver today.
He would get the driver of the day vote. If he did that, I think he actually would get the driver of the day vote. Do you think Hamilton deserved it, driver of the day?
No. I just think he did. I just think he got lucky. He did well. He did well to stay out of the first few little incidents, because it could have gone a lot worse if Lando had hit him a lot harder. He managed to get away with that pretty much unscathed. In all fairness, if I was going to give, obviously, my vote to the driver of the day, I didn't do it live. I would have given it to Perez, but that's just my personal preference.
No, I wouldn't have given it to Perez. You saw how Verstappen was able to come through the field on a DRS with a lot of DRS, and I mean the DRS was very powerful today, and Perez didn't have an answer for Mercedes. I mean, this is the difference in this championship, and this is why I say it's over already. When Verstappen doesn't win a race, he finishes second. When Perez doesn't win the race, he doesn't finish on the podium. That's the difference.
Yeah, you kind of see that in those years, like Hamilton's dominance. If he didn't finish first place, he was on the podium. And there were several races where he would give up the lead because strategically it didn't matter for him to push hard at the moment, to push the engine. And he would gladly come in second or third. And we see it with Max too. If he's not in first place, he's second. There's no third, fourth, fifth, ninth place in Hungary last year. I think that's the only terrible result he's had.
That was the
when he was hit, right? Well, 2 years ago. I'm sorry.
That was 2 years ago. Yeah, Max Verstappen has won 15 of the last 21 races.
Yeah, insane.
Yeah, but I still reckon what was it, 11th to 4th is better than a 5th to 2nd. Coming through the field. Yeah, okay, yeah, he didn't have the answer for the Mercedes, but I think
you expect him in that car. When you saw what Max Verstappen was doing in that car, you wouldn't expect him to not have an answer for everything, because that car is that good.
Mm-hmm.
I think a shout for driver of the day. I think it could have been. I think it could have been Russell, because Russell came from further behind than Perez and finished ahead of him.
Yeah, Russell started 12th.
That is, yeah,
that's podium.
That's actually pretty fair. I will give you that one. But guys, that is why it's called an opinion. We're all allowed to have one, whether I'm right or wrong. it doesn't matter. Whether we've had no sleep and we come out with stupid opinions, it doesn't matter. We just ignore Dan. We keep on going. That's just how we roll, guys. That's it. It's that simple.
Yeah, it's let's say opinions are like arseholes. Everyone's got them, but Dan's are fueled by caffeine.
My wings.
Yes. Sadly, it's fueled by Red Bull. Like,
You enjoying the ball semen, are you?
I was. Why have you got to be like that, bro? You're like these people that are like, do you know what's in sausages and you still eat them?
I have no issues with what's in sausages. I'm just saying I don't drink Red Bull. I don't drink those energy drinks because I know what's in them.
But obviously you don't know how to move a segment on Reese. Chop chop. Let's go.
Well, chop chop. Well, what do you want to move on to? Do you want to move on to the best place to go get your 3D printed track wall art?
Oh, where's that?
Yeah, that's a good.
You know exactly where that is. That is through the website of our show sponsor, Apex Tracks. For all your 3D printed track wall art needs, head to apextracks.com. That's apextraxs.com. And I'm just going to say right now, Apex Tracks, the only thing that's more beautiful than that was a McLaren saying, "Oh no, what's going on there? What's happening to Pato? Oh no."
I love how we just stop our whole podcast, guys, because there's some shit going on at IndyCar. If you're watching IndyCar, you know what's happening or happened. If you're not, Pato Award has stopped just coming out of the pits.
I feel like I've absolutely jinxed that. I was about to say anything. I was saying that the 3D printed track wall art is so perfect and so brilliant. It's so wonderfully synchronized and put together, just like that McLaren double pit stop. And then, Pato stopped. So, we'd just like to say that if you need something reliable, trust Apex Tracks. Don't trust the Arrow McLaren team.
Don't trust McLaren.
Don't trust McLaren for anything.
Something I do want to bring up though. Did you guys hear Martin Brundle talking about how there should be a potential time limit? He referenced 100 seconds for the DRS deployment to make it more like of a strategical element to the race, instead of just if you're within 1 second you open the wing and you're done.
Yeah, I agree. I think it would be an improvement on the current system. I feel like it would really be interesting if you could do it that way. Of course, he also said about removing DRS from qualifying, which I'm all for. I think that is definitely a good idea. My only issue is DRS, push to pass, these sort of things we talk about. Push to pass is a constant. It's the same for everyone. How you use it is up to you, but the advantage you gain is universal. DRS, it all depends on how well your car uses the DRS. So Red Bull would be an advantage there because their DRS delta is exceptional. Teams like Mercedes, who haven't got such a great DRS delta, they would struggle more. And
also, on that context, Max being in first would still get 100 seconds of DRS. And, unless they're saying if you're first, you can't have DRS. But then is that, that's obviously a more flawed system than the one we already have now.
Yeah, and I think if you're in first place, what you're doing, if you're in that situation, you'll go your first 2 laps without DRS. Lap 3, DRS at every opportunity. In lap, DRS at every opportunity. Out lap, DRS at every opportunity. That's what you do. You build up that lead immediately from the start.
It makes you think, though, if people like Martin Brundle are hypothetically discussing this scenario, that maybe that we could see some changes coming to the DRS function in the near future, because that guy has obviously got his finger on the pulse. He's
well respected.
He's in with a lot of people. Like, is this something that he's heard, that he's just kind of floating out there to see if he gets a response from his broadcast, and see what kind of
response it
Yeah,
gets.
that's it. Yeah, see what kind of response they can drum up from that comment on the broadcast.
I fully agree that it was definitely the right thing to do for him to bring it up. And it has, generated some buzz. I mean, we're talking about it for a reason. We've talked about it in the past for a reason as well. And could it work? Well, no, there are some obvious flaws with the idea, but at the same time, it's an acknowledgement that you can, improve things, and there's a way to improve things, and that's how, that's how these things start. There's talk about sprint races. We all talked about the sprint races after the first few. What could we do better? Why are there no points? Why can't more people get points, etc., etc., etc.? Can you make it separate from qualifying? And for me, I'd go, yeah. I mean, we talk about sprint races. We're going to touch on those in another podcast further down the line. Another one of our special podcasts that we'll be releasing where we're trying to fix Formula One. But yeah, I mean, hats off to Mike and Brandon for bringing it up, and being someone with a voice, actually trying to make something happen with it.
Well, I think I'm on the opposite end. I'm cool with changes to DRS, but I still think it shouldn't be to penalize Red Bull. I do like the no DRS during a qualifying lap. I think that would bring definitely strategic advantages to some cars and some teams. We might see some teams get hurt by it. Ferrari, for example, they seem to have a really quick car in qualifying. Who knows how this, if we take DRS during qualifying, they're probably ones that are affected the most.
It's the trade-off, isn't it? Because the thing is, you can, if you're getting DRS in qualifying, you can probably do what Ferrari are doing, which is putting a more draggy rear wing on, knowing that the DRS is going to counter it. And when you get to the race, of course, if you're not within a second of the car in front, you got that draggy rear wing, and there goes your race pace.
I've never understood why we allowed it in qualifying anyway. I've never got why we would openly give a significant advantage within that session when we're only allowing in the race for it to be if you're within a second.
I think the other thing was, when it first came in, DRS, you could use it in practice wherever you wanted on the track. Now, what was the point in doing that if, when it came to the qualifying in the race, you can only use it in certain positions, I think using DRS anywhere with the 100-second limit would be the way to go. How do you police that, of course, because everyone is going to take it to the limit. Are you going to have a timer with an auto shut-off? How do you make that work? There's some technical things that people smarter than us will try and figure out. Yeah, I'm all for it. I think it's a better way of doing things, even if it does. Yeah, you might see a leader checking out. I don't think if there was no Max Verstappen, the quality of the racing would have been any better. Although it would have been more interesting to see a fight for first place.
This technology obviously already pretty much exists within within IndyCar with the push to pass.
Oh no, Pato!
This dude is not having a good day, folks. The guy has stopped, and he has crashed, and he has stopped again.
Pato has crashed. You just can't rely on Mexican drivers, can you, right now?
That is a savage rip, especially when I was trying to have a good point made, Pato, about how this technology already exists within IndyCar, and we already have teams or a team that are in IndyCar and Formula One. It can't be that difficult to shift that technology over.
Oh, well, we've had it in the past with Kurz.
Yeah.
Actually, so, Kurz was stupid because it was 6 seconds a lap and everyone just used it at the same point. But push to pass, a race long time limit is the way these things should go.
I think we'll leave the DRS and we'll see if Brundle puts anything else out on Twitter that we can salivate about, and we'll leave the rest of this subject to our special edition podcast. Yeah,
exactly. Well, with that, I think we also might as well, wrap up this podcast, because I think we've covered absolutely everything you can possibly cover about this Spanish Grand Prix weekend. I will just give a shout out to Formula 2. Again, fantastic entertainment. And I look forward to next season when we can get the new Formula One Academy or F1 Academy coming on the support races. Because I think that the way that you're having to pay for the way and how expensive race tickets are now, you might as well get as much track action as possible. I'd hate to go to a race and go like, oh, you've got one support race and it's the Porsche Super Cup. Brilliant. No, give us everything, you know. One last thing before we finish. Sebastian Vettel has been offered a job as I'm trying to think what it is now. I'm trying to remember the exact title, but it's to do with sort of the
Director of Sustainability.
That's it, Director of Sustainability.
He's gonna have a trash compactor, a solid pickup crew, a composter, and he's gonna plant 500 trees at every Formula One location.
But in all fairness,
he probably will. But also, he might also do what we've sort of set out to do with our special edition podcast, but we'll tease a little bit more with the new calendar, which is, you know, have the F1 circus, fly around the world in an order that makes sense.
It's not a bad job offer, is it, for picking up a little trash at the British Grand Prix?
I think he's been that voice, hasn't he? And I really hope Sebastian Vettel does take the offer up, because it's something he's passionate about. It's something I'm passionate about myself, and I think that we can, you know, if we can make Formula One more sustainable, we can also look at, you know, reducing the cost to the fan,
which is evidently what it's all about. You know, the cheaper the tickets, the cheaper the experience, the more people you're gonna get, you know, to turn up.
Exactly. Bums on seats.
In the long run. Bums on seats.
Bums on seats are what, you know, make sport. Without anyone watching, what's the point in going racing? Apart from picking up Shakira.
I was gonna say, going to the track, going to a race is a great experience, and to take it out of reach for to the majority of your fans is not a good idea. You're gonna do what NASCAR did to a lot of its fans in the late 90s and early 2000s when it exploded here and it lost its core fans, right?
Yeah.
So hopefully Formula One can use that as an example and move forward with that.
Well, you look at Silverstone's gone crazy on prices this year, but it's nothing compared to your local race, Danny. Of course, Miami was unobtainable. So
yeah.
But rather than moan about the price of F1 like we always do, we'll wrap the podcast up. So if you've enjoyed what you listened to today, check out the link in the bio of the podcast, where you can find links to all our social media accounts and more. And until next time, thank you very much for listening. Cheerio, guys.
See you later, guys.
Peace.